Welcome, my name is Bjorn. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be looking at my my actual Druid build. This is a character that I've been trying to make for a long while. I didn't want to play a Circle of the Moon Druid and just go all the way up to level 20 because it's hard for me to justify not playing that because they're so powerful at level 20. It's insane. I really wanted to also go with the Druid that would be my own story, and I like the power game a little bit, but also to have a lot of the character background and story and development there. And hopefully this inspires some people to create something similar to this, or probably just this if you want, and take it and claim it as your own and have some fun with it. So for a quick overview, this is what we're going to go with. Path of the Totem Warrior Barbarian level 6 and Circle of Spores Druid level 14. Now because we are multi-classing a bit, we are going to require some minimum stats. For Barbarian, that is a Strength of 13, and for Druid, that is a Wisdom of 13. So it's not too hard to ascertain these two abilities. For a stat priority, I would recommend getting your Wisdom up all the way, and then your Strength, but that is of course up to you. It's either Wisdom or Strength as your top scores. For your second highest scores, I would of course recommend your Con and Dexterity. This character isn't going to be wild shaping as much. With Circle of Spores, there's other benefits that we gain from not wild shaping. Our Dexterity and Con are equal to our unarmored defense as a Barbarian, so in this case our AC would be a 15 right now. And of course some possible dump stats would be your intelligence and your charisma. I personally like the idea of having a low charisma with this character because they're maybe a bit more of a hermit. Speaking of hermit, let's look at the background here. I had a hard time between hermit and the Outlander build because I felt like it'd befit this character. That's mostly because I'm going to be playing a half Dryad with this character. We'll get into race in a little bit here. With the Outlander, this gives us some skill proficiencies. It gave me my insight and my stealth. I really like that. We also gain a new language and the Wanderer ability. The Outlander is an amazing background to have. As I was saying too, I went with the Half Dryad. This is a homebrew race. If you're not allowed to go with this or you don't have access to it, that's completely fine and understandable. I would recommend maybe going ahead and looking at the Elven race, the Eladrin. They're a pretty cool race of elves, and you gain quite a few things with them. Of course, you can go any race with this, any sub-race. It's completely up to you. With this half Dryad that's homebrewed, I gained +2 to my Wisdom and +1 to my Dexterity. Pretty nice. I gained Mask of the Wild. I really like this ability, being able to hide ourselves a bit easier. It's very with these homebrewed races that I've noticed. I've only recently gotten into them. They take things from this is from the Wood Elf, for example. So it's something that's already in the game. We also gain the Fey Ancestry with it, and we gain Speak with Beasts and Plants. I really like this, especially as a Druid, that we can just naturally communicate with them. This comes from the Firbolg, and with languages we gain Common and Sylvan. So this race to me is not crazy. It's not overpowered. It seems very balanced. It seems very fitting. The only thing that's missing here is possibly Dark Vision, but because we are going to be multi-classing into Druid, we can give ourselves Dark Vision whenever the hell we want. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and start looking at the leveling guide. So at first level, we gain some proficiency with the Barbarian. I decided to go with Nature and Animal Handling. I really wanted to start up with that Druidic feel that I'm already naturally proficient with this shit. We'll gain Athletics in a different way down the road. Of course, we gain our saving throws in Strength and Constitution. I really like this Constitution saving throw because with this character, we aren't going to be investing into Warcaster. You can, if you'd like. This at least gives us our proficiency in con saves. Of course, we gain our Rage and Unarmored Defense. I already went over the Unarmored Defense, and who the hell doesn't know about Rage by now? Fucking amazing ability. Second level, we gain our Reckless Attack, giving ourselves advantage on any attack that we choose, and giving people advantage on us, so a risk versus reward playstyle. We also gain Danger Sense. This is awesome. This is going to allow us to have advantage on our Dexterity saving throws while we aren't blinded or deafened or incapacitated. This will come into play later on with the Circle of Spore Druid. Now finally, at third level, we gain our Primal Path. So with this, I decided to go with Path of the Totem Warrior. I haven't played a Path of the Totem Warrior. Most people, I hear it's a very powerful Barbarian, which it is. It's very powerful. I could see you possibly going with Path of Berserker or Ancestral Guardian. Those are both very valid choices for this build combo, but I would really recommend Totem Warrior here. The reason for that is because we gain the Totem Spirit. We get to choose a certain animal here, and we gain certain benefits while we rage. So while we're raging, for example with the bear, we have resistance to all damage, except psychic damage. This is nuts. Totem Spirit Barbarians, they're nuts. So this is a fucking fantastic thing for us to have, because again, we aren't going to be wild shaping all the time into different forms. Also at third level, we gain the Spirit Seeker thanks to this. So as a ritual, we can cast Beast Sense and speak with animals. So they're only rituals, but remember this while you are delving into the druid spells. At 4th level, we go with an ASI. I decided to go with a feat here, the athlete feat, because that's a pun, and I feel disgusting every time I say it. So of course, with this, we gain a strength or dex increase of 1. I of course want the strength score. My strength on this was a 17, so you know, it's a nice modifier increase there. The other main benefit that I liked with this is that climbing doesn't cost us extra movement, so I really like that, being able to, I feel like I can climb trees or buildings or whatever. I really like that. I don't need to shift into a creature that can do that. 5th level, we gain our extra attack. This is awesome. Attacking more action economy for us and our friends, and killing shit quicker is always very helpful for anyone on our team. We also gain our fast movement to 5th level, increasing our speed by 10 feet. And then at 6th level, we gain Aspect of the Beast. This is where we get to choose another animal, you can go with anything here. I decided to go with the tiger. This is because now we gain the athletics and the survival skill. I decided that this was more valuable to myself personally over movement and other such things because I already have such a high strength score. I'm very much focused on that. Now I'm proficient in my athletics, and I don't need to feel like I need to shift into a bear or a gorilla or something like that in order to gain the benefits of what I can just naturally. And of course survival, because we're a high wisdom score, and it felt fitting that a druid would be able to do this. So with that was all of the Barbarian that I felt was necessary for this class. I would recommend taking the Barbarian all the way up to level 6 before multiclassing into the Circle of Spores Druid, just because of how many things you gain from that. It'll make you feel better too once you start to multi-class. You'll feel like you'll be able to keep up with doing damage. And so now let's go ahead and get into the Circle of Spores Druid. At 1st level, we don't really gain much new besides our Druidic. We can speak it and write it and understand it. It's a nice role-playing aspect. We also gain some spells. I would recommend going with like Healing Word or Goodberry or something of that kind. That way, you're not necessarily at this level so hybrid that you're able to, just outright heal all the time. But you're able to get up that healer in your group. You're able to get up other people or support them in other means with your spells. Now at 2nd level, we finally get to choose our Druidic Circle. And of course, this is where we go with the Circle of Spores. I really, really love this archetype. It's probably my most favorite of the Druidic archetypes. Of course, at 2nd level, we also gain Wild Shape. We can, do a whole bunch of stuff with this. We won't be wild shaping all too much with this build. Of course, if you feel it's necessary, go for it. Like, that's one of the main benefits with being this character and being as much as a hybrid as we can, is that we could interact with all these other animals, learn about them, and then later on, if we have a very select case in which that animal would benefit over our own natural ability, it would only make sense to shift into them. However, at 2nd level, this is where we gain our Halo of Spores. We are surrounded by invisible necrotic spores that are harmless until you unleash them on a creature nearby. When a creature you see moves into a space within 10 feet of you, or starts its turn there, you can use a reaction to deal 1d4 necrotic damage to that creature, unless it succeeds on a con saving throw equal to our spell save DC. We're going to take this all the way up to 14, so we are going to get that full 1d10 out of this. It's a pretty nice reaction. Instead of us needing to have someone provoke opportunity of attacks, I really like the thematic feel of this, and I'll get into more of the thematics later on. Accompanied by the Halo of Spores, we also gain the Symbiotic Entity. So at 2nd level, we gain the ability to channel magic into our spores. As an action, we can expend a use of our Wild Shape feature to awaken those spores rather than transforming into a beast form. We gain 4 temporary hit points at this level. Level 2 would be 8 for each level you have in this class. While this feature is active, you gain the following benefits. So when we deal our Halo of Spores damage, we can roll a die a second time, and then we add that to the total. So at this level, it's only going to be a d4, but at later levels, we're going to have a d10 plus a d10. Also, the main benefit that I really like with this, whenever we hit with a melee weapon, we deal an additional 1d6 poison damage to any target that we hit. So essentially, the way I've read this and the way every hit that we get to do. So with that Barbarian extra hit, it also counts there. So we'll have a consistent 1d6 poison damage all the time. Of course, this form only lasts for 10 minutes, which is a long time. It also goes away if we lose those temporary hit points, or if we use our Wild Shape again. So this is a pretty awesome ability. At 14th level, we're going to gain 56 temporary hit points. That's a nice cushion of health right there that we're going to be able to have, especially since we're going to be raging. We're going to be taking half damage damage from everything. So that's a lot of health at max level that someone's going to have to eat through. So at 4th level, we gain the Wild Shape Improvement. This is, of course, again, more beneficial to if we happen to find those creatures that would benefit us in those select scenarios. So this is, of course, really good for us. Also at 4th level, we gain a new ASI. This is where I decided to go with Great Weapon Master. For the weapon I would recommend going with a reach weapon. I'm looking at possibly the glaive. The reason why I like the reach weapon is because it coincides with us having a 10-foot range with our halo of spores. Also, the reason why I'd go with Great Weapon Master over Polearm Master is because we already have a lot of things that are taking up reactions and a lot of things that are taking up bonus actions for us. But with this, we also just gain a flat out plus 10 to our damage. Take the -5 to penalty hits. Now, this is where at 6th level we gain our Fungal Infestation. So, essentially, if a humanoid or a beast, small or medium size, dies within 10 feet of us, we can use a reaction to reanimate it, causing it to stand up immediately with 1 hit point. The creature uses the zombie stat block in the monster manual. It remains animated for 1 hour, after which time it will collapse and die. So in combat, its turn is immediately after yours. It obeys your mental commands, and it can only take the attack action. So it's not too bad. I really like this because this adds to the thematic feel that I was looking for within a druid. So like one of the main problems I've had with Circle of the Moon Druid is while you could write up, say, an evil Circle of the Moon Druid, it would be completely on its own. It would be completely separate from like the other druids or whatever. Not saying that you should be an evil character, but I liked this idea where instead of us viewing on death as an evil act, because necromancy is generally considered evil. Because for example, with necromancer or wizard necromancer, they are raising a humanoid or whatever, and they have control of them for 24 hours. If they don't continue to control them, they wander off and start killing people. That's pretty evil. That's pretty fucking nasty. It's such a risk. And but with this, they only last an hour, so we see them more as like this is something that's natural, and that like one out of character, it's a meat bag for us. So that's extra health that someone has to possibly eat through to get to us or to get through to one of our other healers. There's also no limit to this besides our wisdom modifier, so we can do this, at least with our character, 5 times. So we can have up to 5 of these for at least an hour. And this could also feed into either, again, being that more evil druid, but also it could feed into being that more neutral druid that has a certain wisdom that most other people don't have. So there's an attack within town, and it's gnolls, whatever. They're an outlander. They take their reaction, fungal infestation, and raise a gnoll or a human. Like say maybe a town guard died and you raise that person. You might be ran out of town, or you might be punished for that. Even though this is simply to you, it's part of nature, like raising them up, using them to defend that city that you are in. So it's a conflict of interest, really, because generally necromancy and raising the dead is very evil and it's terrible. But with this, now there's a different viewpoint to it. So I felt like this character had a lot of role-playing potential. And like the class in general just had a lot of role-playing potential, and I really like that. So this was a really awesome feature. We also gain other spells too, like reanimate dead, so we can raise our own zombies and shit, and still play up that more evil side to us. But I really like that we have that option to play something that's more of a true neutral, or more leaning towards I'm just using this for my own purposes and to advance my own agenda. And at level 8, we gain a Wild Shape Improvement. This is pretty awesome, a CR of 1 or lower, so there's a few things that we can shift into. I think this is the point in which we can start to fly. Also at 8th level, we gain a new ASI. I decided to go with the mobile feat here, an additional 10 feet, been able to take the dash action through difficult terrain, and of course, if we make a melee attack against something, we can run through it without provoking opportunity of attacks. This is an amazing feat to have. If you're able to take this, I would recommend taking it. At 10th level, we gain the Spreading Spores. We gain the ability to seed an area of deadly spores. As a bonus action, while our symbiotic entity feature is active, we can hurl spores up to 30 feet away. They swirl on a 10-foot cube, and it lasts for a minute. The spores end early if you use the feature again. If you dismiss them as a bonus action. At 12th level, we gain another feat choice. I decided to go with Tough. Again, we're playing outside of Wild Shape, so I felt increasing our maximum health, since we are probably going to be doing more tanking and supporting and negating damage in that way. I felt like this was a very useful feat to have. Now, the level 20 cap for us is going to be the Fungal Body. So at 14th level, fungal spores in our body alter us. We can't be blinded. deafened, or frightened, or poisoned, and any critical hit against us counts as a normal hit instead, unless we're incapacitated. So essentially, on top of us raging, taking half damage from everything except psychic damage, we now can't be crit. That's fucking crazy. I think this is a really nice level 20 cap for us. Being able to just take so much damage and just piss off so many people that should have gotten a crit on us. But regardless, this is really nice too because it also benefits us alongside with our, it works with our danger sense because now we can't be blinded and we can't be deafened here. So we'll essentially always have advantage on it unless we're incapacitated, in which point we're probably down. Of course, spells of choice here, I'd recommend, for cantrips, Guidance as a number 1, Druidcraft, Infestation's a pretty neat one, Mending is pretty neat, Cure Wounds, Good Berry. I'm not going to go over spells too much here, it really depends on what you feel is needed. One I would absolutely recommend is Healing Spirit. This is broken, this is absolutely broken. I'll link a video down below, if I can find it, explaining how you can abuse the shit out of this. You're an insanely broken spell. Of course, Greater Restoration, Mass Cure Wounds, Reincarnate, Scrying, Druid Grove is a really fun roleplay. Transport via plants, Plane Shift, Regenerate, Heal. There's so many spell choices that we get. We get 7th level spells with this build, which is pretty awesome. This is where a lot of our hybrid abilities come in, with being able to support our group through other means than just taking damage and healing them. There's a lot of shit that we can do with the Druid to help out. So yeah, over here at the overview, we can see not bad. So let's look at our health. So it automatically rolled this for me. I'm at 217. We use our hybrid form. I can't even remember what it's called now. I'm so dumb. We gain that 56 extra health. So all of a sudden we're at 73, 273 health. That's pretty nice. That's a lot of health that they have to eat through. That's awesome. Of course, we get like 2 extra, resistances here. It's not bad, right? Just 2. That's it. That's no more than that. So again, with the saving throws, I really like that we have that con saving throw. This makes it so that I felt like I didn't need the Warcaster with this character. Also having that strength saving throw really fits into that I can do all this shit that you would have shifted into a bear for or something else out of, and such a high strength, and you can jump far and all that shit. It's a versatile build outside of needing to shift already. Of course, our unarmored AC is at a 15. That's not bad. That's pretty decent. I'll show you a couple ways here to get that up. Of course, there's the Bracers of Defense. That'd bump us up to a 17. The Ring of Protection up to an 18. And if we go with the Cloak of Displacement, everything has disadvantage on attacking us until we get hit that round. So all of a sudden our AC here is at an 18. That's pretty fucking decent. There's other ways to get, like, say, your con or dexterity up to throughout the game with like these tomes. I can't remember what they're called, but you can permanently increase them. So yeah, talk to your DM about if you want specific items. If you don't want to go unarmored, you don't need to. I would recommend it. The other option too is that instead of us wearing Bracers of Defense, we could possibly just go with half plate. I'm surprised it doesn't automatically put this down. It should put it down to, I think, 40, because I think this counts for the unarmored movement. So we would be at 40 feet of movement, which still isn't all too bad. The half plate is technically perfect for this build here because we have a dex of +2. Half plate will only ever add your dexterity score of a +2 unless you go medium armor master, which would increase it to a +3. So yeah, half plate could be a viable option for this character. But again, with being a druid, if you're looking for more of that where you don't use metals, there might be a way to enchant a wooden breastplate that has already the similar properties of half plate. Or if you're looking for a weapon that isn't made of metal, you could go with a wooden glaive or like some sort of unique weapon that you could find down the way and enchant it so that it doesn't break ever, because enchanted weapons magically don't break. I guess that makes sense. Personally though, I really like going with the completely unarmored build here, going with the glaive, screw half plate. With our skills here that we can see, I got the animal handling up, I got the athletics up, I got the insight, nature, stealth, and survival. I felt like this would be very befitting for the character that was a half dryad, hiding in nature and doing all that kind of shit. I really like this. It thematically fits the character that I'm looking to play. Of course, if you want to go with something else, you can. So yeah, overall this character it's pretty decent. I feel like it's a very unique feeling, because I know that there's going to be a lot of rage, like you're going to be dancing in and out of your rage. So 6th level barbarian, we're going to have 4 rages, so that should be plenty, honestly, to dance in and out of during a combat. Of course, we don't even need to be in melee combat for an entire round of combat. We have a whole arsenal of spells that we can just go off of, and we can play more of that support role if needed. And I really like this too, because like the main reason why I was looking for this kind of build was because I used to play World of Warcraft. I started late vanilla, and then I got, like, Wrath was when I started. I'm not going to get into my Warcraft experience, but I played a Druid, and through vanilla into Wrath of the Lich King. Vanilla was kind of rough for Druids, but in Wrath of the Lich King, I was like the true hybrid Druid. You could hybrid so goddamn well. You could do healing, damage, tanking. You could do it all. There's tons of builds that you could do. I loved it. I miss it so much. I hope that this kind of brings back that feeling of me being able to hybrid into all sorts of different things and being able to fill out whatever roles needed. I'm primarily looking to get into the fray and to fight and to reduce damage. I may be a backline tank even. That could be an interesting role. Maybe you already have another barbarian or a fighter in your group that stays to the front line. You could stay behind him or go somewhere else, and you can like get in with your glaive and get at the other bad guy, or just stay behind and protect those casters. And like if that scenario was ever needed, you'd be able to do that because you'd still be able to support the front line with all your spells and other abilities. So this is a very versatile class, I felt, with being able to fill out whatever role was needed, and I'm looking forward to playing it, and I hope you do too. I hope that you took away some inspiration from this, and will have fun with it, and claim it as your own. And thank you again for watching. As always, have a great day. Bye-bye.